Let's talk about leadership for a minute. A topic much written about and experienced on a day-to-day basis by employees in all corners of the world. Yet at the same time, it's interpreted and understood in so many different ways by people. For some, their only experience is what they've seen, good or bad. And for others, it's a well-studied art. And that's what I want to focus in on for this 5th episode of Masterclass. The person I want to home in on today is all-round leadership guru, John Maxwell. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Maxwell, which is possible, it's a great big world out there, you should probably know that he's both an author and a motivational speaker. And alongside both of those things, he's a notable church pastor too. In fact, depending on the circles that you mix within, it's entirely possible that you'll have heard of him from one or all of those elements. He's great at all three. To shed just a brief light on Maxwell's history, his early career began in the church, having followed his father into ministry. Whilst he was born and raised in Michigan, it was his service as a pastor that saw him travel much of the US. His ministry took him to Indiana, then to Ohio, before coming down to Florida, and then travelling the entire width of the US to reside in California for a brief while. All of this before finally returning full circle to Florida, where he currently resides even to this day. Maxwell's career spans some 40 years, having first set out in 1970, and in that time he's racked up an incredible 96 books, most of which on the subject of leadership. In a 40-year career, that equates to nearly 2 books written and published every year for 40 years straight. Most people don't even get to write 1 book in their lifetime, and this guy's written enough for 10 people's lifetimes. Maxwell's books are both practical and theoretical. They cover everything from how to be the best version of yourself to how to communicate more effectively, with the core theme tying all of his books together being the topic of leadership. In total, his book sales have surpassed some 24 million copies worldwide, and he's been featured on both the New York Times best-selling list and the Wall Street Journal's bestsellers list on multiple occasions. Through his work at Maxwell Leadership, his global leadership development organization, it's said that he's created opportunity for as many as 5 million leaders to be trained. This touches on everyone from West Point's military academy to leaders in the United Nations of all things. It's no wonder that he refers to himself as the #1 leadership expert, something that he was officially awarded in 2014 by Inc. magazine, and that he was awarded 6 further years in a row by leadershipgurus.net. Today, he's still ranked #1 by Inc. in the top 50 leadership and management experts, and he's held at #4 in the world in 2023 by Leadership Gurus. It's safe to say Maxwell is a big thing in the world of leadership, and his works are worth paying attention to if you're interested in developing as a leader yourself. One thing that's always struck me about Maxwell's work is that he likes numbers. Many of his books, although not all, are based around numerical lists. 3 things to do here, 15 things to do there, 17 things you must know about that. I think even Maxwell might admit himself that his numbers have crept up in recent years. His 2021 release, centered around essential insight leaders need to know, reached the lofty heights of 150 items that people need to take note of. Possibly a stretch too far for me to remember personally, which is what brings me to a gentler and more memorable number. This from the book he published a decade earlier in 2011, Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. Now, just to be clear, this book should not be confused with Level 5 Leadership by Jim Collins, nor should it be confused with The 5 Types of Leadership by Brian Tracy. Both great authors and speakers in their own rights, and both great concepts, but very different from what Maxwell lays out here. You see, 5 Levels of Leadership is largely about perception. It asks the question, how are you perceived by those you lead? Proposing that there are 5 levels of leadership, and that how you behave, what you value, and what you deliver in terms of results determine your position on the scale in the eyes of the people you work alongside and with. Like most leadership models, Maxwell determines that leadership is a journey, something that we travel with time and that shapes us as we travel it. His model shares the journey from the beginning stages of management, level 1, where we achieve positional power, all the way through to the pinnacle of leadership, level 5, where people follow a leader not only because of what they have achieved, but because of what they stand for also. Like the best models, Maxwell's framework is simple to grasp but difficult to deliver on. To achieve level 5 status requires both introspection and an unyielding desire to grow. It's about accepting that the influence leaders can achieve through the leadership positions they hold isn't determined by the positional power or status they have, but rather to what degree people value and are willing to listen and pay attention to what the leader says and does. Maxwell is clear. Leadership isn't black and white. There are shades of grey that determine the level of impact you can have and the legacy that you create and get remembered for. At level 1, the lowest rung of the leadership ladder, you're gifted the role of positional power. Your role, be it CEO or supervisor, means you are in charge. People follow you, but only because they have to follow you. At this level, you might have the power, but you don't have the influence. People respond to your words because you have the ability to fire them, not because your words add any real value or any real meaning to people's lives or the jobs that they hold. At level 2, the early stage of leadership growth, we begin to recognize the importance of relationships. Maxwell refers to this as the permission stage of leadership. Permission in this instance isn't something that you as the leader are giving, but rather it's something the employee gives to you. People stop following you because they have to, and instead they begin to follow you because they want to. Relationships that a leader builds, coupled by their understanding of people's needs, ultimately unlocks the impact and influence that they can now start to have on people. At this level, people stop seeing you as the boss, and instead they begin to consider you as their leader, a huge milestone to break through. At level 3, the midpoint of leadership, we achieve the production stage of leadership. At this stage, leaders are now considered both effective and productive. You achieve results through the people on your team, but also through your role modelling and your leadership by example. Your willingness to do both what you are asking people to do, but also to have a career history that has done what you're asking people to do, unlocks the next level of influence that you can have on the people that you're leading. People now follow you because of what you're achieving, but also because of how you're achieving those results. Momentum is firmly in your corner at this stage. Progressing further up the ladder, some leaders achieve the lofty stage of level 4. This is the stage of leadership where you're known not just for the previous levels, but now you're also known for the level of investment and development that you're willing to pour into those that you lead. As Maxwell says, quoting Zig Ziglar, you don't grow a business, you grow people and they in turn grow the business. At this lofty level of the ladder, leaders have mastered the art of recruiting well, as they recognise that bringing the right people into the team not only helps the team both go faster, but also achieve faster. In addition to this, they utilise all the skills people have on the team too. They position resources in ways that maximises both output and potential of everybody on the team. To do so, level 4 leaders know and value that equipping people with the skills, the knowledge and the resources is the key to success. And they're willing to provide whatever is necessary to enable the team and the people on the team to succeed. One important aspect of a level 4 leader is not just how much growth the leader is able to achieve with the people that they invest in, but it's also measured by the level of growth those same people can help their people achieve. As the famous adage from Dr. Stephen Brown says, you aren't truly a leader until you've created a leader who has created a leader. Finally, as we step into the world of the 5th level of leadership, we enter the realms of respect. This level of the leadership ladder is about who you are and what you represent. Now, it's important to note, this isn't something that can be achieved overnight. Leaders who reach this level only do so after years of service to others. They have a lasting legacy of creating leaders who in turn created leaders. They are known for what they have achieved and for the impact they've had on people. While this is a metaphorical ladder that a leader can climb, it's one that is only possible should a leader be invested in developing the mindset and skills required to pass through each stage accordingly. It's worth bearing in mind also that each member of your team, or in your company will likely position you as the leader at a different stage. It's entirely possible for someone to see you at level 1, whereas another on the exact same team could see you at level 5. It's why leadership is something that always needs to be being worked at. The journey is literally never complete. Which leads me to, what do you do with all of this? Well, first of all, ask yourself 2 really straightforward questions. At what level of the ladder do you perceive yourself today? And alongside that, at what level do others see you today? Should you want to transition from one level to another, try these handy tips to get you moving in the right direction. Connect with people on your team. Listen, observe, engage. Engage people with a service attitude always in mind. Focus on being a leadership role model. Roll your sleeves up and get stuck in, but without disempowering people. And make sure that you've done the hard yards that shows people that you understand all that people are going through because you've done it yourself. Invest in people, grow them, use all of their available skills. Bring great talent in to bolster the team when needed. And always give everyone the tools, training, resource and experience needed to excel in their delivery of results. Finally, never let up. Accept that leadership is a journey with no finish line. After all, a leader's legacy is shaped by the impression they leave on people. Who you are matters more than you can achieve. The 5th level of leadership is shaped by a leader's ability to grow their people and their organisation, while staying consistent with their personal values. This is what creates a legacy that stays long in people's memories. As Maxwell said, leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It's about one life influencing another. Feel free to check out more about John Maxwell. I've provided links in the comments section below like always. And please keep coming back. We love you joining us for these sessions.